much?
No, we use Zoom all the time.
Okay.
Okay. So it's really easy to set it up. The one thing is it's its own connection type. So you have to go into the options, and it is sitting here once you download it as a calling campaign.
Okay.
But it's still, and also it doesn't automatically present on your main screen. So just remember to present on your main screen, because I was like, where is it when? But and you just set it up like a regular connection type, add activities, workflows, whatever. And then you add an opportunity. So we use this for senior adults.
Okay.
Because that's who we're calling currently is, and it takes us a long time because I mean it's probably like you. Our list was over 300 people,
Yeah.
and with a lot of people being home with kids, it's hard to call.
Yeah.
The reason that we like this is because it doesn't make a request active till they actually ask to sign it. So if we started this campaign last Tuesday,
Okay.
and so we still have like 180 that aren't even assigned, but the like the assigned date is the date they actually request it, instead of like they all got assigned last Tuesday and now they're 8 days late because nobody's done anything with them. So that's what part of it, because it gives you real time of when you could actually start and that was one of the things that we liked about it. So this is just the same, like we don't have placement groups. And then connector group, I did all staff because we just opened it up to everybody who wanted to do it. We didn't want volunteers to do it, but you can do volunteers if you want.
So you decided to do a calling campaign. How did that, I mean, that's part of how this thing was actually created and given, but is there a reason, like you could do other things? Like we were even thinking the other day about, I was thinking about one of our campuses wanted to look at all of the people that have not been to a discovery class. And so kind of finding all those people and putting them into a campaign like this that you could follow up with, that would be another way you could use
and that was one of the things I read, is someone like they did calling campaigns, but they separated it out like teens. And so they did just multiple connection opportunities, so that they can keep track of that. The reason we started is because we just needed to know who needed help at the beginning. And we've already done one of them, but it got a little crazy with who was actually called, and where this actually will keep the list current, and then they'll go off the list once they're assigned and connected. And they did it from paper the last time, and it was just a lot harder.
So you create the opportunity. Do activities come with it, or?
I actually just copied the activities. There actually is a new lava template, so you can put a lava template in there. We don't have one because it just came out like 2 days ago, and we already have this going. So the one thing I gotta find out where is that you can actually have an opt-out group. So we pulled a data view. Okay, so you actually set the individual calling campaign here. So you set up
real quick time out for it. So these are your current, all of your connection types for Fellowship Greenville. And so when you launched the plugin, the calling campaigns type was now there.
Right. And so you go here and you actually have to create an opportunity. So you could do senior adults, teens, whatever here.
Discovery,
whatever. Connection type. But to actually start, like set a campaign, you actually go on the connection type screen to this box, connection campaigns.
Okay.
And you start adding them here. So right now we have 9 active requests, 181 pending. The total was 215, I think we started from, but that's just everything else is connected.
Okay.
And so you just configure this, how you want to configure. The one nice thing is we pulled a data view, but we also have an opt-out group.
Okay.
So we pulled a data view of everyone over 70, but anyone who was like, well, I still can get out, I'm taking care of myself, I don't need you guys to call, we can put them in this opt-out group. So when it does it again, it actually starts taking them out immediately, but just for the future, as we do them, if they don't want to be called anymore, it just puts them in this group. So
Okay.
it's nice because you don't have to build another data view with you can just have an opt-out group. And that was one of the things. And we limit it to head of household because we only want to call one person in the household for seniors.
Okay.
We don't want them to get 2 or 3 phone calls. I set it up as needed. So you can assign them all at once. Like when you want to start this, you can assign them to all your connectors all at once.
Okay.
And it'll just drop them on the list. The as needed is what I like because it's the actual day they started the request, not they just got assigned to them. And then you can do number of days between, so you can keep this campaign going. So in 28 days, they'll all repopulate that have already been called every 28 days. And that will prefer the previous connector if they had someone contact them before. So it's just a couple more options and to help. I just think it makes it a lot easier to keep track of who called who. And because, having the same person contact the senior over and over again, they actually like that because they can develop a relationship with them.
So what you're saying in that instance right there is that Chris Rivers or Josh Amos, he gets assigned, Carrie Rivers, who's an elderly person. I have to be careful because that's my dad, but this is my example. No one else's. So he gets assigned, Josh Amos gets assigned Carrie Rivers. But so when he finishes that and he completes it, then in 28 days, that's going to relaunch and Josh is going to get assigned Carrie Rivers again. Is that what you're saying?
Well, if he asks for more requests.
Yeah.
So if Josh never calls anyone back, Carrie Rivers will go to someone else. But if Josh is actually requesting it, it will be put on his queue for him.
Okay, that makes sense. That's cool.
So the easiest part, so it actually shows up at the bottom, just because it's when it was created.
Yeah.
The easiest part, I would say, though, is to actually assign the requests. So you actually just click this, anybody, because my whole staff can do it.
Okay.
Hit campaign requests. It does take a few minutes. I don't know why, but, and you can actually put how many number of requests you want. Now you can put a default amount and
so you're doing this so Josh comes here. He's like, I want to get the bit work here. So I want 10 people. He put 10 and assigned 10 people to him.
Right. I'm going to put 1 because this is an actual campaign going on.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so it got assigned to me, but just now. So that was the date it was assigned. So that's what's so simple about it. Like it makes it very easy for someone, even if they only have 5 minutes, 10 minutes, they can come and grab one person and call them and get them contacted.
Yeah. Have you added any additional workflows to call?
Yeah, that's my next.
Okay.
So the problem with campaign connections campaign is that it's its own connection type. So you can't transfer it to another connection type. So I actually created a workflow that's create care connection request. So if they needed to get transferred to care, like they need help with transportation, they need help, they have prayer, physical care, anything, I created a workflow to create a new one and it'll complete this one.
So that drop down list shows,
because we might have something else.
But so if you click the drop down arrow, that shows you.
This is all the care.
Okay, so that's the care type. So one of the things we were talking about the other day is that we have like our membership process a bit, like discovery as a connection opportunity, foundations as a connect opportunity, and then we've got kind of like group life waiting. But if we ever wanted to transfer someone to MRT, which is it's in discipleship opportunities, which is a type, and MRT is a opportunity outside of that. You're saying this workflow that you made right here could actually be used to transfer people outside of opportunities that are in different types.
Yeah, that's what we did. Cool. And we just, we limited it to care. You could limit it you could open it wide up or limit it.
Wow, that's really good. That's a good feature to know that you know how to do that. That's great.
Yeah. And then I also have the person profile change. So like if they don't have their home number anymore, because a lot of our staff doesn't have access to changing profiles, they can just submit this, and it's actually the same workflow as a person data error from their record.
Okay.
Just coming from here, and they just tell me what's wrong, and
that's awesome.
Submit it.
Yeah. That's so good. Wow, that's great.
Yeah. So those are the only things we have so far. If they needed another one, I'd build another one, but so far they haven't asked for anything.
So you guys have, let's say you got 300 people that you want to put in this calling campaign. You set it all up. And then Josh Amos, my name, Chris Rivers, Tiffany, whoever's on staff is then assigned to, hey, you're going to go and create your calling. You're going to create your campaign for the number of people that you can use. And then as kind of a leadership team, you're looking to say, okay, out of the 300, we've got 50 left. And so we need to go tell our staff, hey, you need to go try to get 5 more, whatever. And that kind of how you're leading through that.
Yeah, because like when Nettie and I were talking yesterday, so we opened this up last week, 219 we had, and we're down to 181.
Yeah.
And so they talked about it in staff meeting again today.
Yeah.
That can we just, because there's just that, especially now that we've been a whole month, really a month into quarantine because of emergency orders and stuff. People are I'm starting to feel the effect. I've been in tears this week about it, that I just want to go back to normal life. So like, I couldn't imagine someone living by themselves.
Yeah.
So
let's talk about the if you click on and for instance, or if you want to click on one, taking notes. So the one thing about connections is that activities and notes are not private. Anybody can see these. So are you locking these opportunities down? Are you giving any sort of direction in terms of pastoral notes or anything like that? How are y'all dealing with that?
No, we aren't. We don't really have much of that with this campaign, so I haven't had anyone really ask about that. Usually that's a personal phone call if there's like something, but I haven't really done anything like that.
But you created the available workflow to create a care connection, and that would be like, taking it to the next level of care.
Right. And so you could do a pastoral care one. Yeah.
Or we could repurpose this to create a pastoral care note, which goes to we're using projects for pastoral care. So that would be an option there. And then you could make the workflow so that it closes it too when you do that. So that's an interesting thing. Your plus sign, your little activities, could you let me see what activities you guys currently have available?
We just have our same ones.
Okay.
Now, the new lava template, I started looking in connections because that just came out 2 days ago. So nobody in the Rocket Chat, nobody's even really talked about it. Cause I was wondering what kind of lava file they're using. Yeah. Cause it'd be nice to have some options out there on but we're just doing the same that we normally do.
Yeah. Yeah, this is super helpful and super practical. I wish there's a part of me that wants to download it, but we can't. I hate not being on the most updated version.
What are you guys on?
We're on let's see, what are we on?
Because 9.4 is security features. That's an important one to be on because
we're on 9.2 because Bulldozer we can't update because Bulldozer doesn't work past 9.2.
Oh, is that your migration?
Yeah, that's right. So the idea is that as soon as we go live, we would update, and then we've got Tina and myself and Marissa and a handful of others got some work to do before we give it to our staff. So we've been able to figure out what we can move over to production that isn't kind of data oriented, which a lot of it is. So we're kind of like you. We don't have placement groups. We just created connector groups, and we've got workflows that are like, that place in a group or place in a team, and it puts up a little box that says where do you want to put them. So that's how we're using that. We've also got an unsuccessful connection and a successful connection workflow. So those will basically move the status and the state in those areas. So those are nice. And then we've got a couple other workflows that we've created that I think we can put over there before we go live. I would love to, since you're here, just to see, I don't know if you guys have utilized attributes for connections much, but it would be interesting to know if you have or have any examples.
I'm not sure. See, Debbie was a connections expert, but now that she's sort of stepping out of that role.
So one of the things that we've talked about, and I can't think of an exact example, but we haven't had the ability to add other things to connections. And so the attributes make it seem possible to do that. Just didn't know if you'd added any extras. Connections is kind of my thing, so I know a little bit more about it than anybody else.
I don't know why you wouldn't utilize attributes. I'd have to look at that because I use attributes, like group attributes, constantly.
Yeah.
Registration attributes constantly. Like, I feel like attributes are very important to use.
Yeah. Well, this is good. I think just showing me this is helpful to physically to kind of see it. So that's awesome. I appreciate that. I'll talk to Tina and see. I have some ideas for this. We literally just had and this might be another strategic way to think about this, but our Powdersville campus decided to they wanted to go back to I think I mentioned this before. They wanted to go back to all of their people that had signed up for Discovery, went or didn't come, but never went to Foundations. So they actually put a form out for people to register for that. And then another one of our campuses created a WUFU form that put people, like, if you want to be in a community group right now, it's not real biblical community, but it's community group. That's not like our technical community groups, but just to get in a group. And I thought that would probably be a good type of calling campaign where you create a workflow that pushes you into it. Have you guys curated any ways to people to get into calling campaigns yet, or?
No, because we just started a week ago. I mean, and it's honestly, I feel like it's hard being at home right now because so many people have kids and stuff that it's hard to get people to utilize the phone. And you know what? People don't like to make phone calls. I hate to say that, but it's like, so
tell me about how
those are really good. I'm glad you're saying this because I got to think through, and those are really good ideas because, we're going to eventually do a small group push.
Yeah. So that's what I was going to ask you. How difficult would it be to create a workflow form? I'm not sure with all the technical pieces of calling campaigns, but if you had a workflow form that was similar to like a registration, but kind of just like what we use for regular curating information, first name, last name, and then, I don't know, a little bit about yourself, how long you've been at Grace or whatever. But then when you publish that, when you click submit, that actually goes into that connection. Is that difficult to do?
No, we do that kind of stuff all the time.
Yeah. So I would think that would be how we would probably strategize. We would probably think if a campus came to us and said, we want to do a small group push, we want to do a push for Foundations, we want to do a push for something, I feel like Connections would be the place that they would come to, because there's not necessarily a date associated to that event, like an event registration, but there is a way to at least curate information to have somebody follow up with them. So I could see that's how we would use that.
Yeah, because we do that with our, our serving like if you want to serve, it just drops in the connection request. So like those are really easy. Once you get the workflow built, it's really easy to keep using those. And that's actually, you're doing this too, pushing connection requests and working from connection requests. Yeah. Because even our contact staff now is through connection requests. They don't get an email or anything. It goes and sits in a connection request. So everybody's always going to connection requests to work from that, which what you guys are doing is what I think it helps push them to the same place constantly, and they're working in the same place constantly instead of trying to figure out where to find all this stuff. So.
Yeah. I got a question for you. One of the things that we did, and I'll show you my screens to see if maybe this is, now that you just said that, it made me think of a question. Let me know if you can see our screens. Can you see the screens? Yeah. Okay. So under our plug for Connections, these are of course all of our different, we've got Connections, but we've created pages for, discipleship opportunities. That's it right there. So one of the things that I've noticed is that when you click on one of these, and I click on, let's do Wood's test, the breadcrumbs go to all connections. Is there a way to change the breadcrumbs so that they show discipleship opportunities instead of all connections?
No, because it's the page that it's pulling from. Like in
Yeah.
the URL, it's where the URL is pulling from. So when you click on it, it's just pulling the connection request site. That's all the same page. It's just.
Yeah. I didn't know. I just
Problem.
thought I'd ask since we're kind of almost landing the plane with this. Okay, that's good. Well, that's good. I think I need to just sit down with Tina and cast some vision for what I think we could use it for, talk to our team about it. But that connections piece, that's how I think we would use it. We would, at least that's how I'm thinking how I would answer people in the future for ideas is like we simply create a form, some sort of workflow form that they would fill out, and it would go into a calling campaign that we had created. And based off what that is, maybe we have another icon that looks like this, but it's a calling. I don't know. I could think of making pages that look like these that are like, I don't know. I'd have to think through that. So
Okay.
interesting. Okay. That's helpful. You've been helpful to me today. Thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome.
Yeah. All right. Well, if y'all need anything, let me